It's the most wonderful time of the year, and it is time for the most wonderful December TBR. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life and welcome to my very last TBR of 2024. And really, as usual, this is just a pile of possibilities because as always, I have way too many books, more books than I can possibly read in the month of December. And so I am just going to share all the things that I am considering reading, and we'll see what I get to when I wrap them up in January. But grab yourself a warm beverage if it is chilly where you are, and let's get into all of the lovely books that I have to share with you today. First off, I think we will start with the books that I'm reading either for buddy reads, group reads, book club, challenges I'm doing, all that good stuff. I have 4 books for that, and then we'll get into the rest of the books that I just keep pulling more and more books off of my shelf because everything sounds so good right now. As you know, I love to read seasonally, and I really like to pick books that have cold, wintry settings or are set right at the holidays during this time of year. And quite a few of these fit that bill. But let's start off with the 4 books that I am for sure going to get to in December. The first one is The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder. This is the final book of the original set of 5 books, I believe it was, that I had purchased. Oh gosh, it's been a few years now. I can't remember. I found them at a garage sale and I picked them up because I have never read the Little House on the Prairie series in its entirety. And so I've been working my way through them this year, and this is the final book of those original 5 that I have to read. I've since acquired 2 or 3 more books from the series, and I'm going to continue on with those because I have just been enjoying my time with the Ingalls family so much. But I had to save The Long Winter to read in December, of course, because it's set in wintertime. So it sounds like there's a blizzard that comes in October, and then it snowed almost without stopping until April. So yes, I'm excited to dive into this story and see where we are going. And it sounds like Almanzo features in this one. So he hasn't been present in any of the books up until now that I have read. So that will be nice to meet him finally in this story. And then the next book is our selection for the Cozy Reader Book Club for December, and we are reading The Children of Green Know by L.M. Boston. And I've actually already read this. This is going to be a reread for me, but I listened to it on audio the first time I read it, and now I'm going to read the physical copy. But this is about a young boy, and he is going to visit his grandmother, and she lives in an ancient manor house, and there may be the presence of some of the children who lived in this manor house in generations past, and perhaps Tolly, who is our main character, is going to encounter them in this story. But it's very seasonal. It's set during the winter holidays, and I am very, very excited to reread this one. So if you are planning on joining us for the Cozy Reader Book Club this month, we are actually meeting early to accommodate people's holiday schedules. So our meeting this month is on December 14th, which is a Saturday as always, and the meeting is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 11 a.m. Pacific Time. And then next is the final book that I am going to be reading for my TBR 24 in 24 challenge. I've talked about this challenge here on my channel in the past, and it's something that I've been doing over on Bookstagram for the past few years, where you pick books that have been on your shelf since prior to January 1st of the current year, and you prioritize reading them. And I have read, well, I've read way more than 23 books because I have another challenge of my own, my Read 50 in my 50th TBR challenge, to read 50 books off of my personal TBR, which I'll be wrapping up soon. But I also wanted to then read the additional 24 books, and this is my 24th book, which is Peace Like a River by Leaf Anger. I mentioned this book in my end of the year tag video that I just put up, and many of you said that you absolutely love this book, and I am really looking forward to finally reading it. It's been on my shelf for quite some time, and in this we are going to follow Reuben Land, who is 11 years old. He's an asthmatic boy in the Midwest who has reason to believe in miracles. Along with his sister and father, Reuben finds himself on a cross-country search for his outlaw older brother, who has been controversially charged with murder. Their love unfolds like a revelation, and its conclusion shows how family, love, and faith can stand up to the most terrifying of enemies, the most tragic of fates. So, sounds wonderful. Cannot wait to get to this one. And then lastly, with a few of my bookish friends, we are going to be buddy reading A Big Storm Knocked It Over by Laurie Colwin. This has a very summery looking cover to it, but I think we are going to try to read a number of Laurie Colwin books over the next coming months. These will all be rereads for me, but you know how I adore Laurie Colwin. And actually, A Big Storm Knocked It Over is one that I have not read, I think, since I originally read it in my 20s. So it's been probably nearly 30 years since I read this book. So I am well overdue for a reread. And in this one, we follow Jane Louise Parker. She's married a man whose native decency leaves her almost breathless at her good fortune. After the wedding, she returns to work at a small Antony publishing house whose finances are in disarray. Along with her best friend Edie, Jane Louise patiently waits to become pregnant, wondering if a baby will provide a sense of rootedness that still seems to elude her. When that longed-for child arrives, it transforms the Parkers' lives in a way that is as unexpected as it is rapturous. And I just think she is so good at describing relationships and family. And yes, I cannot wait to revisit this one because I honestly don't remember that much about it because it has been so very long. The next book I'm going to talk about is part of a series, and every year for the past 5 years, I have been reading one of the books in this series in the week between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm not sure exactly why I started this. I think probably because it was during the pandemic and I just needed something cozy and comforting for that week after Christmas. And this was it for me. But I have just made it a tradition to read these books during that week. And I get so excited about it. I look forward to it so much, and these stories are so wonderful. And enough with the suspense, Jen. I'm going to be reading Every Living Thing by James Herriot, which is the final volume in the All Creatures Great and Small series by James Herriot. And these are based on James Herriot's life as a veterinarian in the Yorkshire Dales, and he is just so descriptive and so funny, and these stories are just so cozy and comforting. And yes, sometimes there's some descriptions of things that go on with animals that aren't the most pleasant, but I really feel like he does it in such a way that it doesn't take away from the coziness of these books. So I am excited. I've read every single one of these. I read them back when I was a teenager. My mom had them all because she loved James Herriot and she loved the All Creatures Great and Small TV series on PBS. But I have not read Every Living Thing since then. And so I'm excited to get to this one this year. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year in the week between Christmas and New Year's, if I'm going to start over, or I might grab some other James Herriot books that I have on my shelves and dive into those. So we shall see. But this is my post-Christmas treat. And then the next book I have is a middle grade book, and this was the book that I received in my very first box from Small Home Comforts, and that is Understood Betsy by Dorothy Canfield Fisher. And I've been saving this book because the cover is so wintry looking, I feel, and so it just screamed December or January to me, and I thought I would put it on my December TBR, and if I don't get to it this month, I will definitely be reading it in January. But in this, we follow 9-year-old orphan Elizabeth Ann, and she's been living with her Aunt Frances, but there's some sickness there, so she is sent to a farm in Vermont to live with the dreaded Putneys. And her new rural life will be very different from the city that she's used to. And I think this is just all about Betsy learning how to, be confident, be brave, and you know, kind of come into her own. And I'm so, so excited to read this. And if you'd like to see my unboxing of this video, I will have a link to that in the description box down below, but very, very thrilled to have this on my TBR. And then my last 4 books are the Christmassy books of the bunch. And to start off, I have another children's book, and that is The Invisible Child and the Fir Tree by Tove Jansson. And this is part of the, well, 2 stories from the Moomin stories. And I'm not sure if The Invisible Child is really a holiday story, but the Fir Tree definitely is. And so I am going to read this very slim little, I found this beautiful book. I think I might have found this at Half Price Books. I can't remember now. But yes, I just love the little illustrations in here. So cute. Anyway, I have a feeling this will be a very quick and light little read, and I've never read any of the Moomin stories before, so I'm excited to finally give them a go, especially since I read the summer book by Tove Jansson this past summer, and I really enjoyed it and her writing, and I want to read more by her. Then I think all the rest of the books that I have are actually all kind of short story or novella collections, so that's kind of funny that that's how this worked out this year, that I don't have any like Christmas novels to read, which is totally fine. You know, the Christmas holidays are so busy, and sometimes you just need something you can pick up and easily put down again if you need to. And first up, I have Christmas at Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. I read Cold Comfort Farm a couple of years ago, and I just adored it. So funny. Just such a wonderful read, and I just want to go back to Cold Comfort Farm. And I think this takes place before Cold Comfort Farm. It features Christmas dinner with the Starkadders before Flora's arrival. Yes, so this is preceding the novel. And yes, so I think it's just going to be more fun with the Starkadders at Christmas time. I couldn't be more excited for this. And then another short story collection that I have on my TBR is Noel Streatfeld's Christmas Stories. And oh, I love this edition. It's so beautiful. Look at that. And I think there are, how many? There's 9 stories in here. Yes, so it says curl up with this sparkling collection of festive stories by one of the most beloved writers in children's literature. Charming, heartwarming, and funny, these tales will bring joy to readers of all ages. So I have no idea what to expect from these, but I'm going to give it a go. And then it does not seem like Christmas if I don't have some mysteries to read at Christmas time. And so this year I am going to read Murder at Christmas. This is 10 classic Christmas crime stories for the festive season. They're stories by Marjorie Allingham, Ellis Peters, Dorothy L. Sayers, Michael Innes, Edmund Crispin, and more. Yes, so 10 Christmas stories, and yeah, I'm excited to dive into this. I'll get a little Dorothy L. Sayers Christmas story in here since I finished the Lord Peter Wimsey mysteries in November. So that'll be kind of fun to have one more story from her to wrap up my year. And then my final book, I have had this on my shelf for a few years, I think. And I actually heard Miranda Mills, she just shared a bunch of cozy Christmas reads. And if you haven't watched her video, you should absolutely go watch it. I'll link it in the description box below. But she mentioned some of the Christmas stories by Miss Read. And I actually have this bind up. It's called Christmas at Acre, but it actually features the novellas that she mentioned. So I think she mentioned The Christmas Mouse and No Holly for Miss Quinn, which are both in here. And then this also features Village Christmas. Now I've only read the first Acre novel, which I just read in October. I think it was October, one of those months, and loved it. And I'm hoping that I can just read these and I don't need to have read them in some particular order, if anyone can tell me. So not sure if this is going to throw me off from reading the series or spoil something for me, but I kind of feel like I'm okay with it, even if it does. It just feels like Miss Read is so just kind of cozy slice of life village stories that you know, if something gets spoiled, I'll still enjoy them regardless. So I am looking forward to diving into more Miss Read. It's about time too. And then I have a couple more books, which I don't have physical copies of, that are also on my TBR for December, or my pile of possibilities. The first one I am 100% going to read as soon as it is released, and that is the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 8. And it is being published on December 3rd, and I'm going to get my hands on it as soon as I can. I don't know if there's going to be pre-orders available for it, or if you're just going to have to order it on December 3rd. Either way, I'm definitely reading that in December. And then for my last book, you're going to get a little preview of a video that I have coming out at the end of next week, which is another bookish chat with my friend Melissa, and she recommended this book to me. And it is A Holiday by Gaslight by Mimi Matthews. And I've been hearing about Mimi Matthews for a long time now, and this is a holiday novella. And on the day that Melissa and I recorded our video, she happened to mention that the book was free on Kindle at the moment, and so I snatched it up, and I am going to give it a read. And I'll just read you the little synopsis of this that I found on Goodreads. It says, a dutiful daughter, Sophie Apperset, is quite willing to marry outside of her class to ensure the survival of her family, but the darkly handsome Mr. Edward Sharp is no run-of-the-mill London merchant. He's grim and silent, a man of little emotion, or perhaps no emotion at all. After 2 months of courtship, she's ready to put an end to things. After all, even a dutiful daughter has her limits. A taciturn tradesman, Ned, has come a long way since his days working as a draper's assistant. He's wealthy, ambitious, and eager to take a wife, but the courtship advice issued in the Gentleman's Book of Etiquette isn't all it's cracked up to be. Though he's followed it to the letter, Miss Apperset still doesn't wish to see him again. Frustrated and hurt, he's more than happy to oblige her. A Christmas courtship severing ties with her former beau isn't as straightforward as Sophie envisioned. Her parents are outraged. And then there's Charles Darwin, Prince Albert, and that dratted Gaslight. What's a girl to do except invite Mr. Sharp to the annual Christmas party at Apperset House and give him one more chance to win her? But this time, there'll be no false formality. This time, they'll get to know each other for who they really are. Sounds intriguing. So a little bit Victorian, and I am here for this. Those are all the books that I have in my pile of possibilities for December. I would love to know what books you are looking forward to reading this month. Do you like to read holiday books in December? It's one of my favorite things to do during the holidays, especially in the week or two preceding Christmas. I just love to curl up with a cozy holiday read. And if you don't read holiday books, what other kind of books are you looking forward to enjoying this month? I would love to chat all things December reading or books in general down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, if you could hit that like button, that would be fantastic. And if you aren't already subscribed and you'd like to see more content from me like this, please hit that subscribe button. And I'll be back with another bookish video very soon. Bye!